right, sweet. Flatline MMA podcast episode number 48. We're almost at 50, buddy. Let's fucking go. Got a lot to talk about today. Obviously, really good card last weekend. UFC Vegas 11. It had that pay-per-view feel as a fight night, and I think it definitely delivered, man. A ton of fights to talk about, so let's just get right into it right here. We're going to go through the main card, but really just want to give a shout out real quick. Our boy, Randy Costa, New England born and bred, getting just a fucking amazing first round head kick knockout over Journey Newsom. Shout out Randy Costa. That was huge. Put New England on the map. They're growing. So super excited to see that. He was the third fight on the prelims. So huge to see that. Huge to see his name being called. So fired up about that. Overall, just some really good fights on the prelims, heading out to the kind of the main card, which, like I said, this gave all the feels for a pay-per-view card, but it was free, and I hope everyone took advantage and really got to watch this. So let's just get right into the main card here. Starting off, middleweight bout, we had Kevin Holland taking on Darren Stewart. We knew this was going to be a good one. We had two guys that I really thought were matched evenly. I think you got two guys that had a lot of hype behind them. Two guys that were really good at really doing everything. We saw Kevin Holland get the nod here via decision. That was a split. First question, did you agree with the decision? I know afterwards Kevin Holland went to Dana White saying, I didn't win that shit. Not happy with that. But obviously a win's a win. Kevin Holland, I believe that was a 5-fight win streak for him right now. So obviously he's on a roll. Big fights in the horizon for him. But Kev, what'd you think about Kevin Holland versus Darren Stewart?
Yeah, it was a great start to the card. It was, pretty even fight all the way throughout. Definitely could have went either way. I had it for Holland as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, definitely a fight I'd like to see run back if the UFC decides to make that. But yeah, I think Kevin Holland deserves a chance to maybe get at a ranked fighter at this point with kind of the run that he's been on. He's been taking some fights short notice and stuff like that. So he's been pretty active. He's doing a lot for the UFC, and he's winning fights too. So, but yeah, I had it for Holland.
Yeah, I did too. And just to kind of go off your point, like you said, he's been taking short notice fights. I mean, his first fight in the friggin' UFC was against Thiago Santos. So, I mean, you can't get more short notice than that. So, obviously, kudos to him. He's an exciting fighter. He's an entertaining fighter. So, obviously, I don't want to see that one ran back, to be honest. I want to see him move up the ranks. He's obviously on a little bit of a win streak right now. Like I said, entertaining, fun guy to watch. So, obviously, super excited to see him progress in his career because definitely see potential for him to be a big star in the UFC, just kind of the way he presents himself and carries himself. So obviously great fight to start off the main card here. Next, we went into a women's strawweight bout. We had Mackenzie Dern taking on Randa Marcos. I think me and you kind of called this one from the beginning. We figured, Dern on the ground was going to be a little bit too much for Marcos, and Dern just getting it done with the armbar round one. I know we don't have too much to say about this, but overall, what'd you think about Mackenzie Dern's performance there?
Yeah, I mean, she did exactly what everyone thought she was going to do. It was going to end up on the ground somehow, and her jiu-jitsu is just so high level. It was just a matter of time that she was going to get that submission. But watching her warming up in the back, it did look like her striking was a little bit more crisp. I think she did kind of want to show that off in the fight. She had just ended up throwing that kick and slipping and ended up going to the ground anyway. And for Randa Marcos, too, as soon as it hit the ground, you kind of knew it was a matter of time. She fought that armbar for a long time. She probably could have tapped a lot sooner than she did. She was trying to fight it, but it was just too tight. And Mackenzie's got too many different transitions that she wasn't going to fight out of that.
Yeah, 100%. Like you said, it's kind of inevitable when it goes to the ground. You know what Mackenzie Dern's going to do. So I knew it was over as soon as it went to the ground. But great performance. I think Mackenzie Dern was someone, obviously, She ran into, Amanda Ribas, lost by decision, her first loss of her career. And I think she's on a little bit of a run now, regaining the confidence. That's 2 in a row for her in, a pretty, deep strawweight division. So curious to see what's going to happen with her and where the UFC, whether they're going to kind of move her slow. Are they going to give her, highly ranked opponent next? I don't know, but obviously that was a great fight. We knew coming in, Dern was, we both called that submission victory. So she got it done in the first, made it look easy. So hopefully we can get a quick turnaround for her. And who knows? Obviously, I'd love to see her, her striking evolve and maybe see that a little bit more in her next fight. So, all right, we had second fight of the night in the books. Next, we had a fun one. We had a Johnny Walker taking on Ryan Spann. So, Ryan Spann, obviously someone that's on a tear, undefeated in the UFC right now, taking on Johnny Walker, who's on a 2-fight skid, who needed to prove something. Really, this guy was one of the bigger hype trains in the UFC. Before there was Khamzat Chimaev, there was Johnny Walker winning fights every friggin' 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Getting the big knockouts. And this was interesting. It looked like Spann, I think he rocked Walker. Was it once or twice? I don't know whether the first one was a slip or Spann rocked him. I mean, I watched it back again. It looked like he hit him twice, and Johnny Walker was rattled. He was rocked. He was on the ground. And then Walker comes out of nowhere. I guess he regains composure, and he just lands brutal elbows to Spann's head. Some could have looked like the back of the head, but Johnny Walker getting it done in the first round after fighting off a lot of adversity. So kudos to him. I think his chin definitely didn't look good, but he was able to regain that, get back in the win column against a dangerous guy. So what did you think overall about Johnny Walker's comeback win performance there?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the same Johnny Walker, even though he changed camps and, changed coaches and stuff like that. It's kind of this old Johnny Walker that we're used to seeing, pretty unpredictable. He put himself in some danger. He got rocked. It definitely, I don't know how he was able to get himself back out of it, but definitely put himself in some danger. Definitely could have lost that fight. But yeah, he was able to come back into it and just drop some brutal elbows and hammer fist and took Spann out. But yeah, it's nice to see him get a win, but it doesn't look like he's made a ton of progress or evolved much from where he was before.
Yeah, it's a good point too. And what worries me is, he could be a little chinny. His chin could be a little deteriorated. And yeah, I mean, he took 2 really hard shots from Spann. And like you said, he recovered quickly, and that's good. But that worries me once he gets up in the ranks and fighting these guys within the top 5. You know what I mean? Even in the top 10, these guys hit hard, man. So, hopefully that's not too much of a concern. But yeah, he definitely did look like the crazy Johnny Walker that we all know and love. Even with switching camps, going to SPG, working with Kavanaugh, obviously a world-class coach. So curious to see again, especially with like Dern, what the UFC is going to do with Johnny Walker next. Do they throw him into the top 10? I believe it's Johnny Walker 10, Spann was 11, or I think it was 11 and 12. But I'm assuming they're probably going to throw Johnny to a top 10 opponent next. We'll see. But, I want to see him keep winning. He's fun. He's exciting. He's friggin' hilarious in everything he does. So I'm glad he just didn't do the worm after he won and friggin' tore his shoulder again. But Johnny Walker, Ryan Spann, another just fun fight on this card here. So moving on next, we had the middleweight bout that I think a lot of people were talking about on this one. This one could have been, a main event on, another fight night card. This kid's got all the hype. We got Khamzat Chimaev taking on Gerald Meerschaert. And I think a lot of questions coming in was, Chimaev just Khabib 2.0. He's just, he's going to take you down. He's going to ground and pound you. Does this kid have striking? Gerald is a vet of the game. He's fought everyone. He's got some wins. He's got some losses. But overall, Meerschaert's got, I think almost tied for the most submissions in middleweight history. So this guy's got experience. Chimaev comes out 17 seconds, one punch, just absolutely clean. Nothing you can say about it. This kid's the real fucking deal, Kev. What did you think about his performance? I know he didn't show too much, but he showed he's got striking. Uh, it's just crazy to see this guy evolve. He's got 3 wins in the past friggin' month and a half. He's taken 2 significant strikes to opposed to 196. I mean, what do you think of his performance here?
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to break down. He stalked him from the very beginning. I think Mearshart might have thrown like 1 leg kick or something like that, and Chimaev threw 1 punch, and then the fight was over. Yeah, there was a lot going into this fight. Mearshart had, he's fighting the up-and-comer, which adds a little bit of pressure. And then the UFC goes and announces a fight between Chimaev and Damian Maia, kind of basically assuming that Chimaev is going to win this fight. So I think there was a lot going on for Mearshart with this, where he doesn't want someone to make a name off him. He's fighting the hottest prospect, and the UFC is kind of betting against him at the same time. So I think all that definitely takes a role in the fight. But yeah, going into it, I thought Chimaev was going to win just based on how dominant he's been. A lot of other UFC fighters like DC, Gustafsson, Brendan Schaub, they all say, they've all got inside information. They say that this is going to be the guy, this is going to be the next champion. So yeah, and from his performances, over the past, 66 days that he's taken 3 fights.
Yep.
But I can definitely see him being a future champ.
Yeah, and I guess that just kind of brings us to the next question here. It's like, after, really seeing him, use his striking. I know it was 1 strike, but people are comparing him to Khabib, right? He obviously showed that he's got power in that hand. Does the Maia fight still intrigue you, or do you want to see him maybe fight someone more high level than that? Like, do we want to put him up against a striker rather than put him up against Maia, who's kind of been known to be that gatekeeper type? It's like our Colby got by him, Usman got by him. Think about, like, you know what I mean? Like, does that fight intrigue you now, or do you want to see him, the UFC, throw them to the wolves with a guy like Masvidal, Wonder Boy, like someone like that within the top like 7 per se?
Yeah, I think this is a special case. Normally, I would say no, just take the Maia fight, work him in slow. But from all the feedback from other fighters, I guess this is a rumor, but they said he knocked Gustafsson down in training. I think he's a Swedish national champ in freestyle wrestling.
Yep.
He's got a lot of credibility to be, where he is. But, I don't think he needs to rush it either, to be honest. Damian Maia is still a tough fight. People were thinking that Ben Askren was going to breeze right through him. This could be a good chance to show his ground game, to show how high level he is, if he can compete with Damian Maia on the ground. But yeah, I think he's ready for, top 10 type fighters. But I think that, especially since he's fought 3 times already this year, and then he's going to fight once more before the year is over. 4 fights in a year is a pretty busy year, and he's done that in under 3 months. So I think he should finish off the year with the Maia fight, and then really start campaigning for those bigger fights.
Yeah, I actually agree with you. Like, there's people already calling for him to get a top 5 guy, to get, next in line for a shot, which is crazy. Like, why rush this kid? Let's see history just take place. Let's have this kid, fight one more time. Let him get another win under his belt. Show how dominant he is, and then let's start slowly progressing him into the top 5. I don't think, like Dana White said it, this kid is special, probably one of the most special kids that's ever been on the roster. let's not ruin it by throwing him against, you know, a top 5 guy this soon. He, you know what I mean? It's not to take anything away from Gerald Meerschaert, but you know, was Meerschaert ever in the top 5? Did he ever fight for the title? No. We got to see more against top 10 guys and see these kind of performances. That's when people are going to be like, holy shit, this kid's going to be the champ. He's going to be a double champ, like DC said. I put up that post today. So I'm just super excited to see this kid progress, man, because he's been nothing but, I mean, he hasn't broken a sweat in the octagon. He doesn't have a cut on his face. He hasn't bled. It's pretty impressive, man. And this kid's turned into a superstar. I forget what he started the year with. I think it was 44,000 Instagram followers. I believe he's at 700K now in the past 3 months, which is just absurd. This kid's gaining a ton of popularity. He's obviously backing up his trash talk. So curious to see if Dana's still going to book this Maia fight or not. But regardless, I'm watching this kid fight every time because he's an absolute dog. So Khamzat Chimaev, the real deal for all you that doubted him. Hop aboard the hype train because I don't know who's going to stop this one anytime soon. So super fun one. Let's get to the co-main. This one, welterweight bout we had. This one had all the makings to be a fight of the night. Donald Cerrone taking on Nico Price. Cerrone, obviously on a 4-fight skid. He had a lot to prove in this fight. You know, we had Nico Price, this man is one of the most entertaining men in the UFC. We had a majority draw here after I thought was a amazing fight. Obviously, we had, I believe, 3 eye pokes from Nico Price. So it was definitely a rough, you know, from that aspect. But overall, man, I thought both these guys looked good. And I personally had Cerrone winning the fight. I thought Cerrone did more. I thought he looked good. I thought after the first round where he was getting beat for that first half of the first round. And I thought he adjusted. He started slow like he normally does, adjusted and brought the fight to Nico. The head kicks were landing. He looked really good. I was surprised that this was a draw. It sucks that they didn't give it to Cerrone because it's not a win in his book. So for him, that's 5 losses in a row. And I know Dana White's like, oh, we got to have some conversations. We got to sit down. But I thought he looked good, man, against a guy as dangerous as Nico Price. But did you agree with the decision there?
Yeah, I honestly thought Cerrone won the fight. I think the best part of the fight for Nico was probably the first half of that first round. And Cerrone's historically been a slow starter. We were kind of expecting that. But he was able to break out of that, and he got into a groove the rest of the fight. He was throwing some, you know, really powerful kicks to the body, breaking off the clinch, throwing some head kicks. And he didn't look like he was getting rocked the way he was in that first round.
Yeah.
You know, he looked like he was getting the better of the exchanges. But I'm looking at the numbers right now, and you know, Nico outstruck him in the first and second round. But I would say Cerrone probably had the more effective shots through those. And with the eye poke too, you know, they docked a point from Nico in the first round. So it's either, you know, a 10-8 Cerrone or a 9-9 if you give it to Nico. Mm-hmm. And then I thought Cerrone won 2 and 3. So, but it is what it is. I think Cerrone looked good. I definitely don't think that's you know, Dana was saying that, you know, they might have some conversations about retirement and stuff. I think he looked good. I think he still looked like he was able to compete. Looked like he was going for the win the entire time. He didn't look out of the fight other than those first couple minutes of the first round.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I really did believe that he looked good, and he started slow, but that's Cerrone in every single fight, and Nico starts fast. I mean, Nico threw like 80 significant shots within the first like 2 minutes of that fight. I didn't think Cerrone was going to get out of that. He did. He overcame it, and I agree. I had Cerrone winning this. I would love to see him continue. I think he's gonna. The guy has heart. He loves fighting, so. For both of these guys, I want to see both of these guys fight again, you know, hopefully soon, because obviously Nico Price is just like so friggin' wild with like everything he does, just the way he is, his personality. I love it. Great fighter as well, but sucks that it had to be a draw because I really wanted to see Cerrone get back on the winning side of things. They definitely did him dirty there. That I did not agree with that. So, but curious to see as what Cerrone does next. Obviously he's gonna not take a ranked opponent next. I would like to see just a fight with like Condit or someone like that. Another guy who's like kind of on his way out, just so we can get a fun fight. I don't think Cerrone's here to go for the belt anymore. I think he's here to just get paid and put on fun fights. That's why he picked Nico Price. It was a dangerous fight for him to take too. And, he still showed up. He proved that he still can hang with these guys. And I don't see him retiring, man. I really don't. So fun one. We knew it was going to be. So shout out to Cerrone, Nico Price. Thank you guys for a great fight. Let's get to the main event here. Obviously, this is the one everyone wanted to see. This could have headlined a pay-per-view card. So we had Colby Covington taking on Tyron Woodley. There's been beef for years. Colby saying he ragdolled Woodley, in camp all the time, all this stuff. We had all the MAGA stuff going on. Woodley coming out to the press conference, answering every question with Black Lives Matter responses. These two just didn't like each other, and it was finally time to settle it in the octagon. And I think we can all agree 5-0 Colby. I think that was unanimous decision. Colby won every aspect of that fight. Woodley looked lost in there. He didn't let his hands go. And then eventually it ended in it was a TKO. I think, Woodley hurt his ribs and then they called it, which was considered a TKO, but not too much to really talk about there. It's just Colby looked great, man. He backed up his talk. He took out Tyron like he said he would. But yeah, what'd you think of overall the performance? And, just kind of disappointed. I'm just more disappointed on Woodley's end, to be completely honest, man.
Yeah, it was probably the least competitive fight on the card. Colby came out, did exactly what he said he was going to do. He said he was going to put a crazy pace on him, take him down, ground and pound, punch and flurries. And on Woodley's end, I really don't know what his game plan was. He didn't throw a whole lot of punches. He put his back to the cage a lot, which got him into trouble in the Burns and Usman fight.
Yep.
He didn't really have any great moments throughout that fight. It looked like he was. You can tell by the expression on his face too. It just looked like he was there just to get through it. It didn't look like there was that desire to win. So, yeah, Colby did exactly what he said he was going to do. And I guess Ariel Helwani posted the picture of Woodley's rib, that X-ray. So it did look broken. Now, I don't know what the final outcome of that was, but the X-ray that he posted, it did look like a broken rib.
Yeah. It was just frustrating, man, because I really did, I thought for a second Woodley was going to come out. He was going to let his hands go and he was going to knock out Colby, but I just don't think he has it in him anymore, man. His coach said it too. It's like you're going to get to a point where you don't want to hurt someone anymore. And Tyron might be at that point, but then he brought up the beef with Colby. And he just looked like he looked in every other fight, dude. Back against the cage. He was defending a few takedowns, but then Colby just does it again, just like how Usman did it and just how Burns did it. They didn't take him down once. They're going to take him down again. Mm-hmm. And then come that really first 1 through 3, I thought were super boring. And I thought what Colby was doing was pretty just predictable. And then 4th and 5th, Colby really amped it up. He cut Tyron pretty bad. And then in the 5th, he imposed his will on him. Tyron had the guillotine in and Colby slipped out pretty easy. And I guess that's where the rib injury came into play. I don't know, but just super disappointing, man. Obviously, you take a look at that win by Colby and you're like, okay, Usman did it, then Gilbert Burns did it, and then now Colby did it. So it's like a pretty predictable game plan against Tyron. I think what you do with Tyron next, if he doesn't retire, which I know he came on his Instagram Live and said, I'm not retiring. You know what I mean? I'm not changing camps, not doing anything. just put him in with a striker, man. Let's just see him brawl it out. Let's see him get a knockout. I know Dana White says, oh, I'm going to sit down with him. I think at time he might hang it up. But at the end of the day, man, if you just give Tyron just not an opponent style like Usman, Gilbert Burns, Colby, you know what I mean? We're going to see him box. We're going to see him in his comfort zone. But who knows? He might not have that ability anymore. But I think for Colby, kudos to him. He backed up everything he said. Question for you. If you're Colby, do you fight Leon Edwards or are you waiting for the winner of Usman Burns? Because I saw a lot of people say that's the fight to make next because Leon doesn't have a fight. Colby came out of that. I think he could probably fight one more time this year. Leon hasn't fought in a while. Or do you sit out and wait for Usman Burns to go? I don't know. What would you do in his situation, you think?
I think he waits for that title fight just because of how close it was that first time.
Yeah.
Watching that the first time, I actually had Colby winning. It looked like he had the higher output. Usman had the more, effective shots and ended up finishing Colby. But I think that's the fight that I hold out for. I mean, he's kind of, he got the interim belt, fought Usman, gave him a great fight, beats Woodley, one of the previous champs, and I think that puts him right back there. But he was also talking about the Masvidal fight too.
That's true.
Which that's a big money fight, but it's a risky one for him. If it just depends on what his goal is. If his goal is the belt, I say wait for the belt. If his goal is money, take the Masvidal fight if it's there.
Yeah, he's got the options now, and I think he did prove on Saturday night that he is the second best welterweight on the planet. He's just been dominant. Like you said, how close that Usman fight was, and if he didn't get finished there, who knows what the scorecards would have looked like. I think Usman still would have got the win, to be honest, because I think that would have been a 10-8 round. But still, Usman hasn't been in a close fight. He's been dominating everyone. So, but yeah, I mean, he's got beef with Jorge. We'll see if that comes to fruition. It's just, it's not that I was disappointed at the main event because we knew that this was going to happen. It was more I'm disappointed because I wanted a different outcome. I wanted it to be a slugfest, to see Tyron, throw his hands, but that didn't happen. So obviously good shit to Colby. Obviously ton of drama afterwards. Him, just making some terrible comments about Tyron and all this stuff, and getting the call from the president was pretty cool. So he was pumped about that. He looked like a little fucking kid on Christmas. So that was hilarious. But overall, UFC Vegas 11, fucking awesome card. Literally pay-per-view vibes. Better than a couple pay-per-views that we've had this year, man. It was fucking awesome. Every fight was so good. Which brings us to this weekend, which this makes it even better. UFC 253. We have 2 title fights on the line, so we're going to talk about those real quick. Buddy, let's get into it. We got the co-main event for the vacant light heavyweight title of the world. John Jones earlier this summer vacated the belt to go up to heavyweight. We have Dom Reyes taking on Jan Blachowicz. This one's interesting. We had Dom Reyes, who just fought, John Jones at the beginning of the year. A lot of people thought he won that. I think me and you thought he won that as well. Brought the fight to John, really put a lot of adversity into Jones into that fight. Ultimately, he didn't get his hand raised. He was undefeated. He's got that one loss to Jones, getting a second chance to regain that belt, taking on Jan Blachowicz. We love him. He's the Polish power, man. The guy hits hard. He's on a 3-fight win streak. He just stunned the world when he KO'd Corey Anderson with John Jones, in the stands. We all thought that was going to be the fight to make next. Jones vacated the belt. We got these 2 light heavyweight warriors going out on Saturday. What do you think about this fight? What are your predictions?
Yeah, it's an exciting fight. They're 2 really high-level strikers. Jan's got a bunch of great knockouts on his record. Dom Reyes is coming off a great fight with John Jones. One that a lot of people think that he won. So it's definitely the top 2 contenders in the division. They both earn the shot. I think I'm gonna go with Dom Reyes though on this one. It just based on his last performance, he didn't back down from John Jones, one of the best fighters to ever do it. Brought the fight to him, knocked him down, even though that didn't get caught on the scorecard. Uh, Put a lot of pressure on him. It just really showed the champion mindset in that fight. So I think I got to go with Dom for this one.
Yeah, obviously, I think Dom is the favorite going into this one. Both of these fighters, man, they both got power. They both got some ridiculous knockouts on their record. We were there when we saw Dom Reyes just dismantle Chris Weidman. We obviously saw what Blachowicz did to Luke Rockhold. We saw what he did to Corey Anderson. The dude's got power, man. And that's, I think, to me, you know, as a betting man, you go Reyes. But as someone I want to see win, I want to see Jan win so bad. The Polish power man holding the belt. And I think if he connects, man, we've seen Reyes take some shots. Obviously, he took some hard shots from John Jones, and if you can withstand that, you can withstand anything. And I think it's going to be interesting. I know that fight, it definitely took a lot out of him too. You know what I mean? You just went 5 rounds with John Jones, the greatest of all time. He hit you with everything in the kitchen sink. And you were tired. You didn't get your hand raised. So I don't know what that does to his mentality. You know what I mean? Did that make him hungrier to come back and to win that belt? Or is he just, complacent now and is like, fuck, I didn't do it. I'm not facing John again. I'm facing a different guy. And I personally believe that, Blachowicz White might be a worse matchup for Reyes just because of the power there, right? And he does things so differently than John. He's not, this 6'4" lanky guy. You know what I mean? And I feel like in Reyes's mind, like that's what he's been training for, right? Mm-hmm. And now he's going up against a different animal, man. Jan's an absolute monster. So we'll see. But I'm going to stick with the safe bet. I think it's going to be Reyes. I think he's going to get it done via decision, but wouldn't be surprised if, knowing Yan and his career, wouldn't be surprised if he got a quick knockout here. But fight's going to be awesome, man. Like you said, 2 of the most deserving guys in that division. So we're going to see an and new on Saturday night for the first time. And I guess minus all the DC interim title and then, John going away. It's going to be a while since we haven't seen John Jones with the light heavyweight title. And it's going to be weird to see that and new on Saturday night. That's going to be a fun one. Don't miss it. And then the last one of the night, boys, we got the main event, which this is one of the most highly anticipated fights of the year. We have the Battle of the Undefeateds, which hasn't happened in a really long time for a title. We have Israel Adesanya taking on Paulo Costa for the middleweight title. Like I said, both these guys are undefeated. Both of these guys have looked like world beaters in their fights. Paulo Costa is wrecking everything that comes in his path. He just got off of a 3-round war with Yoel Romero, where he took the fight to him. And Izzy's coming off a very lackluster performance of Yoel Romero, where they kind of just stood there and, didn't really do anything for 5 rounds. But he did what he needed to do to win. And now he's on to, defending his title for the second time here. But before that, Izzy, I think, shocked the world and KO'd, Whitaker, who I don't think anyone thought that he was going to do that. And his rise to this title has been so quick. It's been 2 years, and this man's already a champion. He's already defended his belt once. They're talking about him going up to heavyweight to fight Jones. All this crazy stuff's going on. So what do you think about this one? Because I am so excited, and this one is so hard to pick a winner because if you look at their highlights, it's just you got Izzy, who is crazy at striking, who can knock you out anywhere. But then you got Paulo Costa, who he's just such a large man, and if he touches you, you're going down. We saw it in the Yoel fight. We've seen it in every single fight. So, Kev, what do you think about this one? Break it down for me. Give me a prediction.
Yeah, it's awesome anytime you get 2 undefeated fighters that come together and fight. There's more than just the belt on the line. There's pride of losing. There's your undefeated record. Kind of your legacy in the sport. So there's a lot going into this one, but yeah, I mean, Izzy, he's taken out everyone they've put in front of him. He's got a lot of knockouts that, taking out Robert Whitaker, having wins over Yoel Romero, Anderson Silva, uh, Kelvin Gastelum. That was another awesome fight where went the full five. Really showed his conditioning, his heart. Was challenged a lot in that fight. But then you got Paulo Costa. He's just a wrecking ball. Like it's not super polished, but he doesn't stop. He's went right at Yoel Romero. They just went at it for the whole 15 minutes, which was an insane fight. And I feel like he's going to do that same thing with Adesanya this weekend. He's going to put a lot of pressure on him. But yeah, no, it's a tough one to call because Adesanya is so smooth with his striking. He's so unique. He kind of calibrates as the fight goes on. He picks his shots. He sees the openings as they come. But Paulo Costa's not going to give him a break. He's going to be on top of him the entire fight. So it's a tough one to call. But who's the underdog in this one? Do you know?
I believe Costa is the underdog.
I would think it'd be Costa, but yeah, I think I'm going to take Costa. I think he's going to put a lot of pressure on him. I think no matter what, the early rounds are going to go to Costa, and then at that point, he's going to have to switch up his game plan because Izzy's going to find openings, figure some things out, and really let his hands go, let his kicks go. I think if Costa can pressure him on the cage, get him tired, Costa's got some great ground and pound. If he can work for takedowns, just mix that in. My only fear is that I think Costa's pride is going to get the better of him, and he's going to want to stand there and strike with Izzy the entire fight. But I think I'm going to go with Costa. I think he's going to put a lot of pressure on him. I think he's going to hit him with some shots, some heavy shots. But yeah, I'm going to go Costa.
That's actually surprising. I didn't think you were going to say Costa, to be honest. That's my pick as well. I think Costa is going to knock him out. I think, we saw it in the Gastelum fight where, Izzy got rocked. And I believe to this day, if Gastelum didn't go for the takedown, I think he could have finished Izzy. But Gastelum, I don't know what was going through his head during that fight. He took Izzy down while he was hurt. And I thought that was so dumb. And I think if Costa hits you like that, clean, I know that was a head kick from Gastelum, you're not getting up. And I think, Izzy in the last fight with Yoel didn't come at Izzy. And I think that was his biggest fear. Mm-hmm. And I think, like you said, I think Costa's going to come at him like a train. I think he's going to not let him breathe. And we're just going to see, him wear him down. I am worried about Costa's gas tank. I think that might be the only issue just because this is 5 rounds. Mm-hmm. So I guess that would be my only thing I, would be worried about with Costa. But again, you can't count out Izzy because his striking's ridiculous. What he did to Robert Whitaker to this day still makes me cry at night. He's so technical. When he's on. He's one of the best fighters on planet Earth. But I do think the Costa's too big. I think he's going to be too powerful. And I think we're going to see Ann New on Saturday night. Someone's always got to go. It's going to suck. I do see, to be completely honest, I see whoever wins this one, depending on the outcome, I believe we will see a rematch regardless, because I think this fight sells. There's beef here. Depending on the outcome, obviously, if it's a first round knockout, I don't think it's going to be. We'll see it, but who knows? Because DC Stipe did the same thing. But I'm just pumped to see this fight, man. But I'm going to go Costa. I think he's going to get it done second round, and we're going to see Ann New, UFC 253. I'm hyped up by this card. It's good. Just some other notable names on here. Got Kai Kara France taking on Brandon Royal. That's going to be a great fight. We got Hakeem Dodowa taking on Zubaira, Khabib's teammate. What else do we got on the prelims? Brad Riddell, Got Diego Sanchez taking on Jake Matthews. That's gonna be a war. So regardless, buy this. This is gonna be great. We'll give you our reactions come next week. What else? What we got? Anything else?
No, that's it.
Cool. Listen, go buy some Flatline merch. Click the link below to our Teespring site. Whatever you guys want. We're gonna keep adding stuff. Listen, we just hit 2,000 followers. Thank you to all our listeners, all our subscribers, all our followers. We're getting bigger. We're getting better. Our content is we're gonna take it to the next level. So continue supporting us so we can do stuff like this. You need CBD. We're partnering with CBD Medic, CBD MD, Trifecta Foods. Anything you guys need, Venom products. Click the link below. Buy all this. Support the boys so we can get bigger. So our content can go through the roof. So yeah, and until next time, Flatline MMA. Peace.